Dr. Maya Patel had been dreaming about this moment for 10 years. As Earth's lead expert on alien communication, she had spent countless nights studying strange signals from space, trying to decode messages from a distant world. Today, she was finally going to meet the beings who sent those signals. The spaceship landed softly on the alien planet's surface. Maya looked out through the small window and gasped. Beautiful crystal towers stretched toward the purple sky, each one glowing with soft, colorful lights that seemed to dance and move on their own. The air outside looked breathable according to their instruments. But everything felt so different. From home. "Are you ready for this?" asked Captain Johnson, the mission leader. His voice showed both excitement and worry. This was humanity's first real meeting with intelligent aliens. Everything had to go perfectly. Maya nodded, checking her notes one more time. She had studied the alien language for 3 years, watching their broadcasts and learning their customs. The aliens called themselves Zephyrians, and they seemed peaceful and advanced. Their messages to Earth had been friendly, inviting humans to visit their world for the first time. The team of 12 humans walked toward the massive crystal building in the center of the alien city. Maya noticed that the crystals weren't just decorations. They were alive somehow, pulsing with gentle light that seemed to respond to movement and sound. The whole city felt like it was breathing. Local Zephyrians watched them walk by. They were tall, much taller than humans, with skin that looked like living gemstones. Their bodies shifted colors constantly, creating beautiful patterns that reminded Maya of the northern lights back on Earth. Some were blue-green like ocean waves. Others glowed gold like sunsets. None of them looked threatening, but they all seemed very curious about the strange visitors from another world. "Remember," Maya whispered to her team, "we need to show respect. These beings have technology we can barely understand. They could have destroyed us years ago if they wanted to, but instead, they invited us here." The entrance to the main building was enormous, designed for beings much larger than humans. As they walked inside, Maya felt like she was entering a cathedral made of starlight. The walls curved upward into a vast dome, and thousands of Zephyrians filled the space, all watching the human visitors with bright, curious eyes. At the far end of the hall stood someone who could only be their queen. She was magnificent, towering, over even the other aliens, with skin that shifted through every color Maya had ever seen. Light seemed to flow from her like water, creating patterns that were almost hypnotic to watch. When she moved, it was like watching liquid starlight take the shape of a person. Maya had practiced this moment 1,000 times. According to her research, there was a specific way to greet Zephyrian royalty with proper respect. She had seen similar gestures in their broadcasts and felt confident she understood the meaning. The great hall fell silent as the human delegation approached. Maya could feel thousands of alien eyes watching every step. Her heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay calm. This moment would be remembered in history books forever. She couldn't mess it up. When they reached the center of the hall, Maya stepped forward. She had memorized the greeting perfectly. First, she touched her forehead with her right hand, showing that she came with peaceful thoughts. Then she touched her heart, showing that her intentions were pure. Finally, she extended both hands toward the queen with palms facing upward, showing that she carried no weapons and offered friendship. The moment Maya finished the gesture, something strange happened. Every single Zephyrian in the massive hall suddenly stopped their colorful light patterns. For several seconds, the entire room went completely still and quiet. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Had she done something wrong? Then the queen's colors began to shift rapidly, cycling through bright yellows and oranges that Maya had never seen in their broadcasts. The other Zephyrians started making soft sounds that almost sounded like laughter. The queen moved closer to Maya, her massive form graceful despite her size. When she spoke, her voice was like music, with harmonic tones that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You do realize that means marriage, right?" the queen said, and her laughter filled the hall like crystal bells ringing in a gentle breeze. Maya's face went completely white. Her carefully planned diplomatic greeting had just become something entirely different. She looked back at her team and saw Captain Johnson's eyes go wide with shock. Dr. Rodriguez, their cultural expert, was frantically checking his tablet, probably trying to figure out exactly what Maya had just done. The queen seemed to find their reaction amusing. Her colors shifted to softer, warmer tones that somehow felt kind rather than mocking. She raised one elegant hand, and the entire hall of Zephyrians immediately fell silent again. "The gesture your leader just performed," the queen explained, her voice now carrying a tone of gentle education, "is our most sacred bonding ceremony. In terms your species would understand, she has just asked me to marry her in front of my entire royal court." Maya felt like the floor was falling away beneath her feet. Years of preparation, humanity's first contact with an alien species, and she had accidentally proposed marriage to their queen. She could almost see the headlines. Back on Earth, human ambassador accidentally marries alien queen on first contact mission. The other humans started whispering urgently among themselves, but Maya couldn't make out the words over the sound of her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. She had studied Zephyrian customs for years, analyzed thousands of hours of their communications, and somehow missed the most important detail. But the queen didn't seem angry or offended. If anything, she appeared genuinely curious about the humans and their reaction to the situation. Her colors had settled into patterns that felt warm and welcoming, like a sunset over calm water. "Tell me," the queen said, focusing her attention directly on Maya, "what did you believe that gesture meant when you performed it?" Maya found her voice, though it came out smaller than she intended. "Your Majesty, we thought it was a formal greeting, a way to show respect and peaceful intentions when meeting Zephyrian royalty for the first time." The queen's patterns shifted again, this time to colors Maya was beginning to recognize as thoughtfulness. "Interesting," she mused. "Your interpretation is not entirely incorrect. The bonding ritual does represent the deepest form of respect and trust possible between two beings. Perhaps your mistake reveals more truth than your careful preparations ever could." Around them, the Zephyrian court watched this exchange with obvious fascination. Maya realized that this was probably just as unprecedented for them as it was for the humans. They were witnessing their queen interact with alien beings in a way that had never happened before in their history. The queen stepped even closer to Maya, and despite her massive size, her presence felt comforting rather than intimidating. "Doctor." "Maya Patel of Earth," she said, somehow knowing Maya's name, though it hadn't been shared yet. "You and your people have traveled across the vast darkness between stars to meet us. You have spent years learning our ways, even if imperfectly. This shows a dedication that is remarkable." Maya looked up at the magnificent alien queen and realized that perhaps this mistake might not be the disaster she first thought. There was something in the queen's manner, in the way her colors shifted to warm, welcoming tones, that suggested this unexpected turn of events might lead somewhere none of them had imagined. The greatest adventures, Maya thought to herself, often begin with the most unexpected moments. Maya's mind was spinning like a broken compass. She stood there in the massive crystal hall, surrounded by thousands of alien beings, trying to process what had just happened. The queen's words echoed in her head. "You do realize that means marriage, right?" Captain Johnson stepped forward, his diplomatic training kicking in despite the chaos of the situation. "Your Majesty," he began carefully. Dr. Patel certainly didn't intend any personal proposal. We're here as representatives of Earth's government to establish peaceful relations between our species. The Queen held up one graceful hand, and Johnson immediately fell silent. Maya noticed that when the Queen moved, the light patterns on her skin created ripples that seemed to flow like water across her entire body. It was beautiful and slightly hypnotic. "Captain Johnson, is it not?" the Queen said, somehow knowing. His name, too. "I understand your concern, but you must realize that intentions do not change the nature of what has occurred. Dr. Patel has performed the Zarthek ritual, our most sacred bonding ceremony." Dr. Chen, the team's cultural specialist, was frantically scrolling through his tablet, sweat beading on his forehead. "Your Majesty," he interrupted, "we've studied thousands of hours of Zephyrian communications. We never encountered any reference to this specific ritual." The Queen's colors shifted to what Maya was starting to recognize as amusement, mixed with understanding. "Of course you didn't," she replied. "The Zarthek is so sacred that we never broadcast it or speak of it in public communications. It only occurs during the most private and important moments of our lives." Maya felt her stomach drop even further. Not only had she accidentally proposed marriage, but she had done it using a ritual so private that humans had never even known it existed. She could imagine the reports she'd have to write, the investigations she'd face back on Earth. "The gesture has 3 parts," the Queen continued, apparently enjoying the educational opportunity. "Touching the forehead represents sharing of minds and thoughts. Touching the heart represents sharing of emotions and souls. Extending both hands with palms up represents offering one's entire life and future to another." Lieutenant Torres, their communications officer, made a small, choking sound. "So Maya basically told you she wants to share her mind, heart, and entire life with you?" "Precisely," the Queen said, her laughter sounding like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Though I must say, for an accidental proposal, it was performed with remarkable sincerity." Maya finally found her voice again. "Your Majesty, I am deeply sorry for this misunderstanding. I never meant to disrespect your customs or put you in an awkward position." The Queen moved closer, and Maya had to crane her neck to look up at her. The alien ruler was at least 9 feet tall, but somehow her presence felt warm rather than intimidating. "Disrespect?" the Queen asked. "My dear Dr. Patel, you have done the opposite. You have honored me in a way that no one has in over 200 years. 200 years, Maya asked, surprised. The Queen's patterns shifted to colors Maya hadn't seen before, deeper blues and purples that seemed to carry sadness. "I have been queen of my people for 3 centuries. In all that time, no one has been considered worthy of performing the Zarthek ritual with me. The last time anyone even attempted it, it ended poorly." Captain Johnson exchanged glances with the rest of the team. This was definitely not covered in their first contact protocols. "What exactly does this mean for our mission?" he asked carefully. The Queen turned her attention to the entire human delegation. "According to Zephyrian law and custom, Dr. Patel's gesture has created a formal betrothal bond. This cannot simply be dismissed or ignored without proper ceremony. Dr. Chen looked like he was about to faint. "Are you saying Maya is now engaged to marry you?" "In the simplest terms, yes," the Queen replied. "However, I suspect this was not part of your diplomatic mission plans." Maya stepped forward, her scientific mind trying to find a solution to this impossible situation. "Your Majesty, surely there must be some way to undo this? Some ceremony or ritual that could release me from this accidental bond?" The Queen's colors brightened, cycling through golds and silvers that seemed to sparkle in the crystal light. "There are ways, certainly, but I find myself curious about something more interesting." "What's that?" Maya asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know the answer. "You humans traveled across the galaxy to meet us. You spent years learning our language. our customs, our ways of thinking. You came here seeking to build bridges between our worlds." The queen paused, her colors shifting to patterns Maya was beginning to interpret as deep thought. Perhaps this accident has given us an opportunity neither of our species could have imagined. Lieutenant Torres spoke up. "What kind of opportunity?" The queen addressed the entire hall, her voice carrying easily to every corner of the vast space. "For the first time in Zephyrian history, our most sacred bonding ritual connects us to another species entirely. This could represent more than just two individuals. It could symbolize the joining of our two worlds." Maya felt a strange mix of terror and fascination. "Are you suggesting we actually go through with this?" "I'm suggesting we explore possibilities," the queen said. "Your mistake, Dr. Patel, may have opened a door that careful planning never could. The question is, are you brave enough to walk through it?" Captain Johnson stepped protectively closer to Maya. "Dr. Patel doesn't have to decide anything right now. We need time to discuss this with our government, to understand the full implications." The queen nodded graciously. "Of course, such decisions cannot be rushed. But consider this. Your Dr. Patel came here to study our culture and build connections between our peoples. She may have succeeded beyond her wildest dreams." Maya looked around at her teammates, all of whom seemed as overwhelmed as she felt. Then she looked back up at the magnificent alien queen, whose colors had settled into warm, patient patterns that somehow made Maya feel like everything might actually be okay. "How long do we have to decide?" Maya asked. The queen's laughter filled the hall again. "According to our traditions, a betrothal period lasts one full cycle of our 3 moons, approximately 6 of your Earth months. During this time, the bonded pair learns about each other, their families, their hopes and dreams." Dr. Chen made another choking sound. 6 months? Maya, you'd have to stay here for 6 months? "Not necessarily," the queen said. "There are alternatives. Ways to honor the bond while allowing Dr. Patel to fulfill her duties to Earth, but such arrangements would be unprecedented." Maya realized that everyone in the hall, human and Zephyrian alike, was waiting for her response. The weight of first contact between two species had somehow landed entirely on her shoulders. She thought about all the years she'd spent dreaming of this moment, all the nights studying alien signals, hoping to make contact with another intelligent species. She had definitely not imagined it would involve accidentally getting engaged. "Your Majesty," Maya said finally, "I think we have a lot to discuss." 3 days had passed since Maya's accidental proposal, and she was starting to think the whole situation might not be the complete disaster she first imagined. The Zephyrian palace had provided comfortable quarters for the human delegation, complete with Earth-like atmosphere and even furniture sized for human bodies. Maya sat in her room, looking out through a crystal window at the alien city below. The view was breathtaking. Towers of living crystal stretched in every direction, each one pulsing with gentle light that seemed to respond to the emotions of the beings inside. At night, the entire city looked like a constellation had settled on the planet's surface. A soft chiming sound announced a visitor. Maya turned to see Queen Lysara entering her quarters. The queen had to duck slightly to fit through the doorway, but she moved with such grace that even this looked elegant. "I hope you don't mind the intrusion," the queen said, her colors shifting to polite, respectful tones. "I thought we might speak privately, away from the formalities of the court." Maya gestured to a chair that had been specially made for the queen's size. "Please, sit down. I've been hoping we could talk more about this whole situation." The queen settled into the crystal chair, which immediately began glowing with soft light that matched her skin patterns. "You've been thinking about my proposal, haven't you? The idea of using this accidental bond to create something meaningful between our peoples?" "I have," Maya admitted. "But I'll be honest, it scares me. I came here as a scientist and diplomat. not as someone looking for whatever this is. Queen Lysara's colors shifted to warmer tones. What do you know about Zephyrian bonding, Dr. Patel? Beyond the ritual you accidentally performed? Maya pulled out her tablet and scrolled through her notes. Not much, I'm afraid. Our intercepted communications never mentioned it directly. We know Zephyrians form long-term partnerships, but we assumed it was similar to human marriage. The Queen laughed, and the sound was becoming familiar and oddly comforting to Maya. It's far more complex than that. When two Zephyrians bond, they share not just their lives, but their thoughts, their memories, even their dreams. We become connected on levels your species doesn't have words for. Maya felt a chill. You mean like mind reading? Not exactly, the Queen explained. More like, imagine if you could feel what your partner feels, know their thoughts when they choose to share them, understand their emotions as clearly as your own. It's beautiful, but it requires complete trust and compatibility. Maya stared at the Queen. And you're suggesting I could do that? A human? Queen Lysara's patterns shifted to something Maya was learning to recognize as excitement mixed with curiosity. That's what makes this situation so fascinating. No one knows if it's possible. You would be the first non-Zephyrian to ever attempt a true bonding. Over the following days, Maya found herself spending more and more time with Queen Lysara. The Queen was nothing like what Maya had expected from an alien ruler. She was brilliant, curious about everything, and had a sense of humor that caught Maya off guard constantly. They walked through the crystal gardens together, where plants made of living light grew in impossible patterns. The Queen explained how each plant was actually a form of Zephyrian art, shaped by the emotions and thoughts of its creator. This one, the Queen said, gesturing to a tree made of flowing golden light, was created by my predecessor to celebrate the first time we detected signals from your solar system. She died before we could make contact, but she would have loved meeting you. Maya reached out carefully to touch one of the light branches. It felt warm and somehow alive, pulsing gently against her fingertips. How old are you, if you don't? Mind me asking? In your years, I'm about 400, the Queen replied casually. Still quite young by Zephyrian standards. Most of us live for over 1,000 years. Maya nearly stumbled. 400 years? But you seem so... So what? The Queen asked, her colors showing amusement. So young. So curious about everything. I expected someone ancient to be more... I don't know, serious? Set in their ways? Queen Lysara stopped walking and turned to face Maya directly. Dr. Patel, when you've lived for centuries, you learn that curiosity is what keeps life interesting. Meeting you and your people is the most exciting thing that's happened to me in decades. That evening, Captain Johnson pulled Maya aside for a private conversation. Maya, I need to ask you something important. How do you really feel about all this? Maya looked around to make sure they were alone. Honestly, I'm terrified and fascinated at the same time. The Queen is incredible, brilliant, funny, kind. But the idea of some kind of alien mind bond? That's beyond anything I ever imagined. And the diplomatic implications? Captain Johnson asked. If you go through with this, you'd essentially become the first human-alien ambassador in history. The responsibility would be enormous. Maya had been thinking about that too. I know. But Johnson, what if this really could bring our species closer together? What if my accident could actually help both our worlds? Dr. Chen joined their conversation, looking exhausted from days of research. Maya, I've been studying everything we can find about Zephyrian culture. This bonding process, it's not just a ceremony. It would fundamentally change who you are. Change me how? Maya asked. According to what the Queen has shared with us, bonded Zephyrians can communicate across vast distances, share knowledge instantaneously, even sense each other's physical and emotional state from different planets. Chen paused. You'd become something new. Not fully human, not fully Zephyrian, but something in between. Maya felt her heart racing. The implications were staggering. But would I still be me? That's the question no one can answer, Johnson said quietly. You'd be the first to try it. Later that night, Maya found herself back in the Crystal Gardens with Queen Lysara. The alien city sparkled around them like a jeweled dreamscape, and the Queen's gentle light provided a comforting glow in the darkness. You're worried about losing yourself, the Queen said without preamble. Maya was getting used to the Queen's ability to read human emotions, even without a bond. Wouldn't you be? Maya asked. Everything I am, everything that makes me human, what if I lose that? Queen Lysara was quiet for a long moment, her colors cycling through deep, thoughtful patterns. When I was young, she finally said, I was terrified of bonding with anyone. I was afraid that sharing my mind would mean losing my individuality, my independence. What changed your mind? The Queen's colors shifted to something beautiful and sad. I realized that true bonding doesn't diminish you. It expands you. You don't lose who you are. You become more than who you were alone. Maya looked up at the alien queen, this magnificent being who had somehow become the most important person in her life in just a few days. Are you asking me to trust you with everything I am? Queen Lysara's patterns brightened to warm, golden tones. I'm asking you to trust us both, to believe that together we might become something wonderful that neither of us could be alone. Maya realized she was standing at the edge of the biggest decision of her life. Behind her lay everything familiar, Earth, humanity, her old life as a researcher. Ahead lay the unknown, a connection deeper than anything humans had ever experienced, a chance to bridge two worlds, and a partnership with someone who might understand her better than she understood herself. The Queen waited patiently, her colors steady and calm, giving Maya all the time she needed to decide. What happens next? Maya asked quietly. Queen Lysara smiled, and her entire being seemed to glow brighter. Next, we find out what's possible when two different species dare to become one. 2 months had passed since Maya's accidental proposal, and her life had become something she never could have imagined. Every morning, she woke up in her crystal room overlooking the alien city, and every day brought new discoveries that challenged everything she thought she knew about life in the universe. Queen Lysara had become her constant companion and teacher. They spent their days exploring different parts of Zephyrian culture, and Maya was amazed by how complex and beautiful their civilization was. The Queen wasn't just a political leader. She was also a scientist, an artist, and a philosopher, all rolled into one incredible being. Today, they were in the Queen's private laboratory, a vast space filled with equipment that looked like it came from a dream. Crystals hummed with energy, holographic displays showed star maps of the entire galaxy, and devices that Maya couldn't even begin to understand lined the walls. This is my real passion, Queen Lysara explained, her colors shifting to excited, blues and purples. I've been working on this project for 50 years. Maya looked at the central device, which resembled a tree made of pure light with branches that seemed to reach into other dimensions. What does it do? It's a consciousness bridge, the Queen said proudly. A way to connect different types of minds across any distance. I originally designed it to help Zephyrians communicate with species that think in completely different ways than we do. Maya felt her heart skip. Different species? You mean like humans? Queen Lysara's patterns brightened. Exactly like humans. When we first received your radio signals centuries ago, I became obsessed with the idea of true communication between our species. Not just translating words, but actually understanding how human minds work. Maya walked around the device, fascinated. As a scientist herself, she could appreciate the incredible complexity of what she was seeing. Have you tested it? On volunteer Zephyrians, yes. but never with an alien species. The Queen paused, her colors shifting to something Maya had learned meant nervousness. Maya, I need to tell you something important about the bonding ceremony. Maya turned to face her completely. Over the past 2 months, she had come to read the Queen's emotional patterns almost as well as human facial expressions. Something significant was coming. What is it? Queen Lysara gestured to her laboratory. Traditional. Zephyrian bonding happens naturally, through biological processes our species evolved over millions of years. But for you to bond with me, we would need technological assistance. Maya felt her mouth go dry. You mean this machine? A version of it, yes. The bonding process would use this consciousness bridge to create connections between your human mind and my Zephyrian one. The Queen's colors showed both excitement and worry. It's never been attempted before. Maya sat down heavily in a nearby chair. So when you offered me this bonding, you were essentially asking me to be a test subject for experimental technology? Queen Lysara immediately moved closer, her colors shifting to apologetic tones. Maya, I should have explained this sooner. I was afraid you would refuse if you knew the risks. What risks? Maya asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know. The Queen was quiet for a long moment. In the worst-case scenario, the process could damage your mind permanently. In the best case, you would gain abilities no human has ever possessed. Telepathic communication, enhanced intelligence, the ability to process information at speeds your brain was never designed for. Maya stared at the consciousness bridge. This beautiful and terrifying device that could either destroy her or transform her into something beyond human imagination. How long have you been planning this? Since the day we received your first transmission from Earth, Queen Lysara admitted. I've spent the last 3 centuries preparing for the possibility of bonding with a human. When you accidentally performed the Zarthek ritual, it seemed like destiny. Maya stood up and began pacing, her mind racing. So my mistake wasn't really a mistake at all, was it? You've been working toward this moment for 300 years. The Queen's colors shifted to deep, honest blues. Your gesture was genuine and unplanned. But perhaps some things are meant to happen, even when they seem accidental. That evening, Maya called an emergency meeting with her human colleagues. They gathered in the main conference room that had been set up for them, and Maya explained everything the Queen had revealed. Captain Johnson looked stunned. So she's been planning this for centuries? Not planning exactly, Maya clarified. More like hoping for the possibility. She genuinely didn't expect me to accidentally perform their bonding ritual. Dr. Chen was frantically taking notes. Maya, this changes everything. If this technology works, it could revolutionize how our species communicate. But if it fails, I could end up brain dead or worse, Maya finished. I know, Lieutenant Torres spoke up. Have you made your decision? Maya looked around at her teammates, these people who had become like family to her during their long journey to this alien world. I think I have. But I need to know something first. She activated the communication link to Earth. It would take several hours for messages to travel the vast distance, but Maya needed to speak with the people back home. This is Dr. Maya Patel calling Earth Command. I need to speak with Director Wilson immediately. We have a situation that requires authorization from the highest levels. While they waited for Earth's response, Maya spent the night walking through the crystal gardens with Queen Lysara. The alien city was beautiful at night, with soft lights creating patterns that seemed to dance across the landscape. Are you afraid? The Queen asked gently. Maya considered the question carefully. Terrified, she admitted, but also excited. As a scientist, this is the discovery of a lifetime. As a person, I've never felt a connection with anyone like what I feel with you. Queen Lysara's colors warmed to gentle golds and pinks. Maya, I need you to know something. If you decide not to go through with this, I will understand completely. There will be no shame, no diplomatic consequences. Our peoples can still work together and build a friendship between our worlds. Maya stopped walking and looked up at the magnificent alien being who had somehow become the most important person in her universe. And what about us? What happens to whatever this is between us? The queen was quiet for a long moment. I don't know, she said honestly. But I would rather have you safe and unchanged than risk losing you to an experiment, even one I've spent centuries perfecting. Maya felt tears welling up in her eyes. In all her years of study and preparation for first contact, she had never imagined falling for an alien queen. But here she was, standing in a garden made of living light, completely in love with a being from another world. Lysara, she said, using the queen's name for the first time, instead of her title. What if it works? What if we can really do this? The queen's entire being seemed to glow brighter. Then we would be the first of our kind in the universe. Two different species, two different ways of thinking, joined together in a way that's never existed before. Maya reached out and took the queen's enormous hand in both of hers. The alien's skin felt warm and alive, with tiny patterns of light that seemed to respond to her touch. Then let's make history, Maya said quietly. Queen Lysara's colors exploded into brilliant patterns of joy and love that lit up the entire garden around them. Are you certain? Maya smiled, feeling more sure of herself than she had in months. I've spent my whole life studying the stars and dreaming of finding something amazing out there. I never thought the most amazing thing would find me first. The queen gently squeezed Maya's hands, and even without any technological enhancement, Maya could somehow feel the depth of emotion flowing between them. When? Maya asked. As soon as Earth gives their approval and you feel ready, Queen Lysara replied. We'll need to modify the consciousness bridge specifically for human brain patterns, run extensive tests, make sure everything is as safe as possible. Maya looked up at the alien stars scattered across the night sky. Somewhere among them was Earth, her home, her past. But standing here with Queen Lysara, she realized she was already home. 6 months after Maya's accidental proposal, she stood in the Grand Assembly Chamber where it all began. But today was different. Today, instead of making a mistake, she was about to make the most important decision of her life on purpose. The Gia response from Earth had taken 3 weeks to arrive, but when it came, it was everything Maya had hoped for. Director Wilson's message was clear. Dr. Patel, you have full authorization to proceed. The potential benefits to humanity are beyond measure. We trust your judgment completely. Make us proud. The consciousness bridge had been moved to the center of the Great Hall and modified specifically for Maya's human brain patterns. It no longer looked like a tree. Now it resembled 2 chairs connected by streams of flowing light, designed to accommodate both human and Zephyrian physiology. Thousands of Zephyrians filled the crystal hall, their colors creating a symphony of light that pulsed with excitement and anticipation. Maya's human colleagues stood in a place of honor near the front, and she could see Captain Johnson giving her an encouraging thumbs up. Are you ready for this? Queen Lysara asked, her own colors showing a mixture of excitement and nervous energy. Maya nodded, though her heart was pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. As ready as anyone can be for something that's never been done before. Dr. Chen had spent weeks studying the consciousness bridge technology with Zephyrian scientists. He approached Maya now with his final report. All the tests show green across the board. The bridge is calibrated perfectly for your brain patterns. But Maya, once this process begins, there's no going back. Maya took a deep breath. I understand. Queen, Lysara stepped closer. Maya, I need to ask you one final time. Are you absolutely certain about this? You're about to give up everything that makes you purely human. You'll become something new, something that's never existed before. Maya looked around the great hall, taking in the incredible scene. Humans and Zephyrians standing together watching history being made. Lysara, I've been thinking about this for months. Yes, I'm giving up being purely human. But I'm not losing who I am. I'm becoming more than I ever could be alone. The Queen's colors brightened to warm, loving tones. Then let's begin. They approached the consciousness bridge together. Maya could feel the energy humming from the device, and strange patterns of light danced across its surface. This machine represented centuries of Zephyrian science and Queen Lysara's personal dream of connecting with another species. Maya settled into the human-sized chair, while Queen Lysara gracefully arranged herself in the larger one designed for her species. Immediately, the bridge began to glow brighter, responding to their presence. The process will take several hours, Queen Lysara explained. At first, you might just sense my emotions. Then gradually we'll begin to share thoughts, memories, and eventually, consciousness itself. Maya reached out and took the Queen's hand. Whatever happens, I'm glad we're doing this together. The consciousness bridge activated with a sound, like singing crystals. Maya felt a gentle tingling in her mind, as if someone was carefully knocking on the door of her thoughts. She relaxed and let the sensation flow through her. At first, it was subtle. She could sense Queen Lysara's presence. In her mind, warm and comforting like a gentle light in the darkness. Then gradually, she began to feel the Queen's emotions as clearly as her own: excitement, love, wonder, and a deep sense of completion. Maya, the Queen's voice came not through her ears, but directly into her mind. Can you hear me? Yes, Maya thought back, amazed that it worked so easily. This is incredible. As the hours passed, the connection deepened. Maya began to see flashes of the Queen's memories, centuries of life, the beauty of Zephyrian civilization, the loneliness of ruling alone for so long, the excitement of first detecting Earth's radio signals. In return, she felt the Queen experiencing her own memories, childhood on Earth, her first glimpse of the stars through a telescope, years of studying alien communications, the moment she decided to join the first contact mission. Your species is remarkable. Queen Lysara's thoughts flowed into Maya's mind. So curious, so determined to reach beyond your own world. Maya was amazed by what she was learning about Zephyrian society through their shared connection. They weren't just more advanced technologically. They experienced reality in ways humans couldn't even imagine. They could sense quantum fluctuations, perceive time as a flowing river rather than a straight line, and communicate with their planet's living crystal formations. But Maya also realized that humans brought something unique to the connection. Her human creativity, her emotional intensity, her species' incredible adaptability, these were qualities that fascinated Queen Lysara. We complement each other perfectly, Maya thought to the Queen. More than I ever dreamed possible, came the reply. As the bonding process reached its final stage, Maya felt her consciousness expanding in ways she never could have imagined. She could suddenly perceive the electromagnetic fields generated by every living thing in the hall. She could sense the quantum entanglement between particles of light. She could feel the gravitational pull of the planet's 3 moons as clearly as she could feel her own heartbeat. But most amazingly, she could sense Queen Lysara's presence not just in her mind, but as part of her very being. They remained 2 separate individuals, but they were also something more. A single consciousness spanning 2 species, 2 ways of experiencing reality. When the process was finally complete, Maya opened her eyes to find the entire hall glowing with celebration. Every Zephyrian present was displaying their most joyful colors, creating patterns of light that filled the space like a living aurora. Maya stood up slowly, marveling at how different everything looked through her enhanced perception. She could see the emotional patterns of every being in the hall, could sense the quantum connections between all living things, could feel the vast network of consciousness that connected every Zephyrian on the planet. "How do you feel?" Captain Johnson asked, approaching cautiously. Maya smiled, and she realized that when she did, her skin now showed faint patterns of light similar to Queen Lysara's, though uniquely human in their design. "I feel like myself," she said. "But also like more than myself." Queen Lysara stood beside her, their consciousness bridge still maintaining a subtle connection between them. "The bonding was successful beyond my wildest hopes," the Queen announced to the hall. "Maya remains fully herself while gaining new abilities that will benefit both our species." Dr. Chen was practically vibrating with excitement. "Maya, we need to run tests, document everything, understand exactly what's happened to you." Maya laughed, a sound that now carried harmonic tones similar to Zephyrian laughter. "Chen, I can perceive quantum mechanics as easily as you perceive color. I can communicate with Zephyrian technology through thought alone. I can sense electromagnetic fields across entire star systems. I think we're going to need bigger notebooks. Over." The following months, Maya became exactly what Queen Lysara had hoped, a bridge between two worlds. She could translate not just languages, but entire ways of thinking between humans and Zephyrians. She helped establish the first joint human-Zephyrian research stations, where scientists from both species worked together on projects that neither could have accomplished alone. The consciousness bridge technology was refined and adapted, allowing other humans to form limited connections with Zephyrian partners, though none as complete as Maya and Queen Lysara's bond. Soon, there were dozens of human-Zephyrian pairs working together across the galaxy. Maya and Queen Lysara established the first interstellar embassy, a beautiful station orbiting between Earth and the Zephyrian homeworld. It became a symbol of cooperation between species and a training ground for diplomats from both worlds. Years later, as Maya stood in the embassy's observation deck watching ships from both Earth and the Zephyrian homeworld docking together, she reflected on how a simple diplomatic mistake had led to the most important alliance in galactic history. Queen Lysara joined her at the window, and through their permanent bond, Maya could feel her partner's contentment and love. "Any regrets?" the Queen asked, both aloud and through their mental connection. Maya smiled, her bioluminescent patterns dancing with joy. "Just one," she said. "I wish I had made that mistake sooner." In the distance, a new ship approached the station. Maya could sense that it carried the first group of children born to human Zephyrian bonded pairs, a generation that would grow up truly belonging to both worlds. "Look," Maya whispered, pointing to the approaching vessel, "the future." Queen Lysara's colors brightened with happiness. "Our future." And as they watched the ship dock, both Maya and Queen Lysara knew that the greatest adventures were still ahead of them.